are live. I feel like
Locked
Jerrod
and
right now. I'll
live.
take a back seat.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll let you take. Whoa,
So
jeez,
we
that's pretty
are a
close.
little
Back
late,
up.
but that's okay. You guys are used to that for us.
Right.
There is no time when it comes to us. The military's always hurry up and wait. So today we've got with us. You don't mind Pat, right?
That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
No big deal. Yeah.
Pat Berry, and I discovered him through a friend of ours that is William Young, that has the Saturday Night Synopsis that John's been on. And this is a friend of his that they started another podcast, Three Guys Around a Fire Pit podcast. See, Pat, that's how you do it. Nice and easy.
Yeah, sure. When it's not yours, it's cool, huh? Yeah.
Pat is also a Air Force veteran. And he and I have been talking back and forth for the last week or two about mindfulness, which I'm all on board with from my experience with mental health, and meditation. That, okay. I am open to hear things because
Oh, yeah.
meditation and me, well, if we sit down for a while, my mind is already going to somewhere else. But I've heard you with Saturday Night Synopsis. Yeah. And
Sorry, I left.
oh, there's Bill. So and we have your boy Bill on already, Pat. So he's saying hi. But I will go ahead. You sent us this outline to take over the show.
All right. I knew I was going to catch out. So,
like I said, Pat is the most prepared person on our podcast too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but I mean, holy smokes, dude.
Everybody get a notebook.
All right. So here's the thing. Like,
we like prepared people because
So,
none of us are
on our podcast. Those guys love to just derail me, right? So like I have to come in just like super over prepared because like if not, we're out in the weeds, we're gone. And it's a thing that and so I started putting together these outlines, and then Bill wanted to see them, and then now he's expecting them, and so it got easy, it got easier. So you're right. I was on Bill's show, the Saturday Night Synopsis, and we did a lot of the same stuff. I talked about it with him. One of the things that he wanted me to talk about, now his show is geared more towards correctional officers. Yep. So one of the things he wanted to me to talk about then was my experience when I took a tour of where he works, of the facility. That's kind of how I felt.
Purpose, folks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Voluntarily, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come see where you work, buddy. Turns out, it's kind of a horrible place. I don't know if you guys know this, but jail sucks.
Yes, I started my career as a corrections officer.
Sure,
so,
right.
I feel my man down there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So I went and I talked, and so and then he and I and Brad, the other guy on our podcast, we would actually there's a reason we call it Three Guys Around a Fire Pit, because that's what we did. This is what we do. That's we would sit around, we would talk that stuff, talk about just the weird, the stuff that people get to talk about, don't get to talk about, would rather not talk about, or, only talk about after a few beers or strawberries, right, Bill? Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm a mechanic, right? I've been in the Air Force. I was a mechanic on fighter jets. I'm a mechanic here now. I work on cars. My job since I've been pretty much 18 years old has been to, diagnose problematic symptoms, identify root causes, and then find the solution, right? Whether that be that, sorry, bro, gonna need a new transmission, or, hey, man, I can just fix this wire and, we'll get you on your way. That's kind of my life now, right? So it's either you're stealing Christmas from somebody, or you're, or you're, their best buddy today because you figured
Pat,
it
I
out.
don't
So
know if you can see the.
no, I
probably
can't.
better.
And so you
You're
guys
number one.
It's probably better.
You're number one in
Oh, okay.
Bill's life right now.
We're reading
Is that a big fat?
in
Okay.
between the
Oh,
lines.
I can see him now. All right. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Kind of got you split down the middle though, right? So I have a friend now who's hurting, right? The guy you guys have all talked to Bill, or at least you have, John.
Yep.
He's very, very passionate about
Yep.
what he talks about, right?
Mhm.
He talks about the stress, the constant, the PTS. You guys say?
Yeah, it's kind of
PTSI.
our thing.
Sure, and that's
Yep.
cool. And so I noticed a problematic symptom, and I did, and I cannot turn my brain off. So when I, would think about that kind of stuff, I would think about how does one go about fixing the problem? Because the real fix is to just overhaul the entire correction system, or police. Everything is got to go, because it kind of sounds like it's a nightmare right now. Not saying that anybody's doing a bad job with it, it's just this current situation sucks. But that sounds super political, and I am not super political at all. So I'm like, well, I can't do that. So what can we do? And I wanted to kind of like share with you guys something that I have kind of figured out over my lifetime, and that's it's mindfulness meditation, right? And okay, here come the groans. Oh God.
Hey, like I said, you got me with the mindfulness. Those are proven techniques.
Sure.
It's just the meditation. I don't know if it's for me yet.
No, we'll get
But
there, buddy. My goal is to get you to at least try again. Now, first and foremost, I am not a psychologist. I am not a psychiatrist, and I am not a licensed therapist at all. I am just a guy who has a buddy who we talked about this shit before, and it seemed to help him out a little bit. So we've talked about it, and it seems it's helped me in my life. Like you guys said, I am a veteran. There's the changing of the getting out and then civilian world, and just the transitions and just moving around, and hell, just living in 2020 at all right now, right? Or 2021 now, but hey, we made it through. But yeah, has it been that much better yet? Don't know. So
the news is still the same. It's just a different year on the end right now.
Sounds like it right now. So
to refer to it as just +1. 2020 was like the new millennia, and now we're just at +1.
Right. So that was like, that was like level 0 for then, and then we're just
starting over.
So we could start over with a little bit, and I'm going to be asking you guys. I know, John, you are a police officer and a fireman, and Dustin, you work with kids in a therapy sessions and stuff like that, right? So you guys have like work stresses. In fact, John, being a police officer, you have stresses like no others. The best day you have is when nothing happens, right? I mean, it just seems like, hey, today was a great day. Nothing happened,
right?
But that never happens, right? And the worst that you've ever seen, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be there. I just had a conversation with my guys on their, on our show, just a couple weeks ago about, they used to pick up bodies, for a living. And they were talking about holding a severed head in their hands. And I'm just like sitting there like, how am I going to tie this one to Buddhism, but here we go, so you've held, yes, yep. Right. That's right, Dustin. Also severed head. Right. And that's how we kind of got on the thing. Cause I like to hear about people's dreams and stuff, but we may get it back into that, but that's a whole other situation. Right. So
hey,
your normal
taking your own self into the grass.
Right.
On this
so
one.
your normal day consists of scenarios that others couldn't possibly handle on their best day. Right. Even in a therapy situation, you have a consistent, you don't get to meet, you're a caseworker, right? You don't get to meet the good ones. The good ones don't come to you, do they, Dustin? No,
those that are in good situations usually don't make it into foster
care. That's what I'm saying, right? So you don't see good, right? I was going to ask John a question about there's this sort of, I don't know, this myth about cops only being able to be friends with cops. Is that a true statement, man? Do you feel that like a real thing, or is that like is that kind of, I don't know, like, because I mean, obviously you're doing this with these two guys, so you have to be a little bit close with them and everything, but
right. You have to really put yourself out there in order to make that happen. Now, outside of those two guys, and really, Jerrod, I don't think I've even met you in person yet because I wasn't home when you came over. So, really, it's only been Dustin, and
we had those,
you know, and even that's a struggle.
Recordings here,
right?
Oh yeah, we had the
yeah.
Two. And it was so memorable. Apparently,
yeah,
so,
that's me.
Okay,
that's why Jerrod,
right.
producer, he stays behind the scenes.
Right.
But you know, even as far as my friends, their friendships outside of the work, you know, they do have friends that they can call on and do stuff with, but even them, that, you know, they kind of, after spending maybe an evening with them or a couple evenings if they go camping or something, they're like, my God, that was tough. You know, like it's really a struggle to relate with somebody that you want to share stuff with, but you can't. You don't want to hear about the guy that had been dead for a week and a half and his brother finds him and he's, you know, his head's about ready to snap off his neck because of the weight of being
like War Body Wednesday, dude. Oh man, I don't know if you know about that. Oh, that's you're right up Brad's alley right there.
Yep.
He loves talking about that stuff, man.
Right.
Oh, it's so
like
good.
it's like it was the first time in 12 years I had to like put Vicks on my nose. Like, man, it was the middle of January, and I'm like, what in the hell is that? Oh my God! You know, and the family, God bless them, they don't have a clue what it is, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna this mask. Yeah, you ain't got COVID no more. I know, it's okay. Yeah, you know, it's hard to talk about stuff when people don't want to hear that. You don't want to take that around their kids.
It really
you know?
is. Yeah.
And I've seen that
right
from the veteran side and doing what I do with my nonprofit with Warriors Hope, and you know, just seeing, you know, veterans and police officers like John can tell me stuff from his, and you know, to me it doesn't freak me out because, well, okay, yeah, I can kind of relate to most of it, and there is that kind of crossover between veterans and first responders. So I see a lot of that friendship for those that even aren't even in a first responder position, where they kind of gravitate to that structure of, or a friendship that's in that type of structure too.
Jerrod, you feel lonely yet, bud?
Yeah, right. I mean,
he's just kind of sitting there. He's like nodding his head, like, yeah, That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds like it sucks. But even let's think about it though. But let's think about, you know, your day, right? You still have to work, you know, and while your worst day is still pales in comparison to, say, you know, Bill's or John's worst day, right? Or, you know, you still a bad fucking day for you. Sorry guys, sorry out there, all of you, all dozen of you. So
now I'm gonna have to put it on there. Put explicit on.
Anyway, sorry guys.
First time we're gonna edit,
and it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing for me. Like when I can't fix a car, it's kind of hard for me to, you know, compare that to say, you know, somebody else's bad day where they got beat up or they got, you know, jumped or somebody got shot or had to shoot somebody or something. But hey, man, that's still a bad freaking day for me. You know what I mean? Like, I also didn't get paid for this job that I just did for 9 hours, you know? So it's like, you know, like still sucks, but it's, you know, so this, while I'm aiming this towards the first responders and the, you know, and the veterans and, you know, people who've seen some shit, you know, it's relevant to anybody. It really is, because we've all got stressors, right? I mean, just so even when it's fine, it's not really fine, right? We'll call it death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? It's just, even just that when nothing happens, the possibility of something happening, right, is there, right? Or we call it, then you find those shifting baselines where, you know, you're fine one day and you're good the next day and you're good the next day and you're good the next day, and then boom, you know, like Bill used to say, he's like, then I'm yelling at my kid, or I'm getting pissed off at my wife because she asked me to take the damn trash out, you know. And it's like, well, that's not me. Where did this person come from, you know? And the idea is, let's take those paper cuts and let's kind of apply some band-aids to those before they start getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's where I'm going to be talking about the mindfulness and the meditation parts. And like I said, we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. So problem 2, right? We've got for the veterans, right? We've
Bill's
got
Push's book.
wait,
I see that.
Nothing
right?
that never happened.
okay. All right. He also
I
went.
say his comments looks a little familiar to me. Like I've seen something like that before.
No, but anyway. But yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I'm supposed to push the book. Nothing that never happened for William Young.
Well, I do have to
It's awesome. Everything.
say though, the first book that I ordered after my master's is now complete is his first one, the Home Becomes a Housing Unit.
Yeah.
So, and I think John has that one. But so there you go, Bill.
Jesus.
I keep it handy.
We got 2 plugs for you, Bill.
Hey,
There you go.
look at that. He's even got a picture up for you. All right. So we've got the.
Which time I get one autographed or something.
I think that's made more appearances than I have on this show, so maybe we should get an autograph.
Signed copy. So we're also talking about post-traumatic stress injury, right? We're also talking about constant stress injury. We're talking about hypervigilance. I just said that over a long period of time, that hypervigilance, the fact that nothing can happen, but you have to be prepared for anything to happen all the time. And it's just, God, it just wears on you. Because like I said, even when nothing happens, like it could be just the stupidest, like this person's got a tail light out, but we've all seen those nightmares, right? We've all seen those nightmare videos, the dash cams, right? Where the guy just takes off and the cop gets run over, or or even worse, it's just every time you walk up to a car or a situation, it's how much crap is going through your mind, right? So let's try to find something that we can have. Once again, we'll tie it back. I promise. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. I noticed that a lot of
point for point. I'm watching it. He's going right down. So.
Working on it. I know. I was like trying to stay on clock, but then that clock just got blown the hell out. I didn't even know when we started. So now I'm just trying to go as fast as possible and get to the
don't worry about clocks.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's why Jerrod.
Everybody who wants to watch will watch.
Yeah,
I think it was 7:30.
Fair enough. All right, we're good. We're good. All right. So problem 3, right? So let's talk about being on shift, right? Let's talk about coming off shift. And when you're off shift, don't you feel like you're on shift still, or you're still out on patrol? Or for the corrections officers, they can't be here when they're still stuck there. With Bill, I talked a lot about the complaint is that it's never quiet for them when they're at work, right? Because they're inside the walls and there's always something going on. The TV's always on. There's always somebody wanting something. There's some come to me, and then, or somebody's bantering over here or something. You just don't get that moment of quiet, right? You don't get that. But the problem is when you do. Oh, go ahead.
Let me
go ahead.
Interject. I'm pretty sure it was on your podcast with Bill, and it was interesting to me where you had Bill go through his steps that he does to get ready for work.
Oh yeah.
And
the rituals.
I found that he went through the entire ritual of it, and then you asked him something that I had never thought of before is, okay, so what is your ritual for coming home? And for him it was, if I remember correctly, it was rolling down the window or something in his car. And I actually went back and listened to that again because I got thinking in my own self, what would I do to prepare for going on a patrol or in Iraq, or get ready for training, or even now get ready for work? I have a set thing, but when I come home, even though I'm hearing everything and maybe it's setting something off, or maybe it's being a trigger for something for myself, for me, coming home is just, okay, I'm home, and you drop everything. And now I'm starting to get in that routine of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I've seen a little bit of change in that when you have that routine to come back.
Had another guy on his show, the Saturday Night Synopsis. There you go, Bill. About I think he was from the Roll Call Room podcast, and
fantastic
the guy's name was Nick, right? And Nick talked about that that tough guy persona that they all had to put on. And that's where, when I listen to that, is kind of where I kind of got that idea. You have your rituals, right? You get ready. So you put that uniform on that certain specific way, you know, and you drive the same way to work, or and Bill had this whole like 16-step, like crazy, like he has to take a shower at the exact same time. He does this, he does that. He works his way all the way to when he gets to work. Boom, he's on shift. The last thing he does before he's
to that is, he had mentioned when he goes out, and I found this in my own life too, and I don't know if John can attest to this as well. If something interrupts that mindset, you forget your keys inside, or somebody has you come back inside when you're already in that mindset to go out the door. And I can really relate to that, because once I'm outside, I'm like zoned in. Okay, this is next. And I'm very goal oriented. Okay, this is next. This is next. And when something throws a wrench into that, where I have to do something else, I end up being late, or later than I want to. And, the military's already installed in me to be there early. But for me, that's already late. And I've noticed, since really listening to that part of when you guys were talking about that, exactly what Bill just said, it screws everything up. Your entire day is now set into a negative tone, and that sets your entire day. And especially for first responders, now they have to go on with the rest of their day where it's already in their mind been screwed
well, and
up.
you can, if somebody's not a first responder, or and they're a veteran, and they're listening to this show, let's put it in terms of, you go through basic training, you go through you go through your primary training, you go through your secondary training. We did tech school in the Air Force. I had cold training, then hot training, and then I had my first base where there was on the job training, and everything was training me and getting me ready to do the job, to be in the military, to do that job.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came time to separate from the Air Force, they were like, all right, peace out.
Yeah.
See ya.
And that's something that we discussed in our first podcast or second podcast here, where the episode was, I remember to this day still the feelings and everything sitting in after I got done, and they handed me my DD-214 and said bye.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, now what? I had no focus, no goal. It felt like the team was gone. And, for veterans, especially when you're used to having each other's back, even though you have family, there's a difference. And I know we're getting off your outline.
No, it's
here,
fine.
Pat.
Actually, I'm gonna take that detour with you, because I'm gonna tell you that story about when I separated the Air Force. Holy crap, man! Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's like you have your family who is always there for you, and now this other part that is always there for you, the military, and once that drops out, you don't have that feeling of complete, and it's hard to get your family to understand that.
It's tough, man. It is tough. So let me tell you about leaving the Air Force from Korea. So I was stationed at Kunsan Air Force Base. John, you said you were stationed at Osan, right? Well, where does
frequently
the Freedom Bird flies only to Osan, right?
Yep.
Freedom Chicken. Okay, well, that was a little bit different terms. The 6 years later after I was there, when I was there. But anyway, so the Freedom Bird only flies. So when you leave Kunsan, if you're going to another base, you take a bus from Kunsan. It's like a 2-hour bus ride north, really close to the DMZ where Osan is, right? And then the plane picks you up, and then you take off and you fly over the Pacific for 14 hours. And for me, that was going to be that last beautiful flight. It was it. I was walking away with the 2 middle fingers up saying, yeah, I survived. I'm out. Peace, But the Freedom Bird had a different idea in mind. That plane broke, and then the plane broke again, and then the crew didn't have proper crew rest, and then the plane broke again. So 4 days later,
mechanic that worked on planes.
Well, I worked on fighter jets, man. I worked on the Mazda Miatas of the Air Force. That's not literally what the F-15 was. It was like, I don't know what craziness was in us that we could work on those, but you had to put your hands and arms in weird positions. So Oh, I know I'm not on my podcast, but come on, guys. That's what she said. Anything? Nothing?
I was gonna let
We
it
don't
go.
do that on this one.
I different.
No,
It's
Bill's
Bill
already got
commented
you on
that
one.
too.
I've
all
seen
right.
up there
Okay.
somewhere.
It's,
Right.
Bill's already
Dustin
got
asked me if we got open reign, but okay. All right, so I'm leaving the military, right? Normally people don't leave the military from Korea. So it's already been a nightmare few months because people are looking at me. They're like, I'm separating. They're like, we don't know how to do that here. And I was like, yeah, I get that, but doesn't change the fact that I'm leaving. So maybe you want to throw some paperwork together and get me the hell out there, Air Force. So I get there. So after the 4th day, I had to go pay for my own hotel because billeting was completely booked up,
Oh,
no. As it is. Billeting is the on-base hotel that's usually like 12 or 14 bucks a day. I was spending, I don't know, 50 to 60 a day, just to go stay outside the base, up the street, carting everything I owned at this point too in a bag because I was waiting because the rest of my shit had been packed out. And so I'm carting this thing up and down this giant hill. To just come in and find out that I'm going to be doing nothing for the next day. So that's fine. So I look at about the 3rd day, I look at my military ID card and I was like, I'm not sure I can get back on base if I leave here tonight. Because when you separate super close to the day that like that thing expires, right? So I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, July 15th, huh? It's July 14th. And even if I can get back on the base, if I fly over the international date line, it'll be tomorrow with it. Oh shit. Right? Because like you can't get in the air you can't get in the United States without that thing. Right. So so I walk to another base's like military personnel flight. I walk into their office and I start talking and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking fun, right? Let me explain this one to these 2 airmen first class, right? So I walk up, drop my giant bag, and they're like, how can we help you? And I'm like, okay, so here's what's going on. And I just laid it out for them, right? And I took a deep breath and I was like, here's this happening. So if the plane doesn't take off at this specific time tomorrow, I may not be able to get back in the Air Force, in the States. So I have an expiring card, and they go, and they did the A1C look at each other. They're like, you know what to do? And he goes, I don't know what to do. So they turned around. They're like, Sergeant so-and-so. And the most pregnant staff sergeant in my entire life turned around, and she was like angry pregnant. Like she was just like, oh man, she had to buy pregnant BDUs. It was not.
Well, it was Korea. That happens frequently,
Right, but it almost looks like she was. It's like it looked like she might have tried to get pregnant to get out of that tour. That's how like far along she was. Like it was, I don't know. But anyway, that doesn't happen either. So it's cool. So she turns around and like she might as well have like had like a cigar hanging out of her mouth. Like that's how like angry she looked, right? She goes, what? And these 2 are like obviously stressed out for having to ask her, right? And I went, took a big deep breath. And I just like, I vomited out every single thing I just said to the other 2 because they're useless because they were. And she looks at me. And at this point, the other 2, the 2 airmen have gone off and they've gotten the book, the book, right? They're looking through Air Force regs and I'm like, not going to find it in there, buddy. It's not the Air Force hasn't thought of this one. Right. And she looks at them and they're just flipping pages, looking at each other like, what the hell, and I'm like, yeah, I know. And she looks back at me and I'm like, please. And she just leans over to the airman. She's like, cut him a new card for like 5 more days. And she walked away. She didn't say nothing else. And they were just like, okay. I'm like, sweet, I'm out, but that's the thing, right? I was in a different base. I had no contacts with my own like chain of command at all. Like if she wanted to make a stink about this and if it was going to be bad, like I could have been there another month, man, just waiting for this plane. Because my people at my base were just like, all right, you're on the bus, be gone, and that's it.
Right.
So
should have made you file an extension, extended your enlistment.
But that's I could see the cogs working in her head. Right? I could see the wheels. They did it to you. They made you because like there were people who got stuck in stop loss.
Oh yeah.
I was in, and they were like, oh my god, I couldn't imagine that crap. This guy straight did not give 2 shits. Like he was like, I was supposed to be gone 6 months ago. Do you think I'm going to do anything? Oh my god, dude. So you just sat around for a few months, right? I mean, that
yeah, no.
No, that's what this guy did. He was like, "Are you gonna fire me? I'm not doing it." Right? And they're like, "Actually, we're keeping you around." Anyway, yeah. So, but that was the thing. So anyway, I know, long story, which leads to once you're gone, right? All this training. Let's get back to where we were. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back home, guys. Bring it home. So you do all these things to get on shift, to ramp up, to put the uniform on. You put on your body armor, you put this on, you do everything, you get ready for your stuff, right? But what do you do to come off the shift? Like, what is your decompression time? How long does it take you to decompress from a shift? Even a good shift, a particularly bad shift. Is there something in my, obviously it's rough. Guy I know, probably named Bill, said at one point said it takes him an entire weekend just to get ready for the next week. And he's already pissed off because he's just getting ready for his next shift. It takes him 2.5, 3 hours to calm down from one shift that was 16 hours long so he could get 6 hours of sleep to turn around and get back on shift again. It's like, Jesus, all you guys say, like, I've done some of the coolest shit in my life on when I was, as a police officer or, on shift at work. Everybody kind of acts like that. They're like, you kind of feel like I'm the best me when I'm at work. Well, that is not fair at all, is it? Because who are you, right? Who are you? Like, when do you get to be you? When do you get to, like, just chill,
And I know that I've had those conversations. I was a school counselor for a year. And it's like, it was nothing for me. 500 students between the ages of 4 years old and second grade.
You do kind of have that school counselor voice, don't you? Yeah, you do. It's awesome.
Just a little bit.
I'm Mr. Weedman. Just wanted to let you know that I'm here. So anyway, I'm sorry, buddy.
You're good. But it was like, we had one kid that would come in. I remember one day where she had significant trauma that I can't go into, but very significant trauma, and was only in first grade. And it got so bad that, and Bill, or sorry, I looked at John and said, Bill, man, dang it. It's the round head.
Is it?
All right.
We just don't have the true goatee that he's got that stretches.
Yeah, we're not allowed
about 30 yards.
Have that.
But yeah, so John can kind of relate to this too, because I think he knows the facility nearby that this person came from, that's residential, and she was literally, this young girl was on the floor, bashing her head on the floor and saying, help me, because of the trauma. Her body could not comprehend it. And here I'm on the floor with this young girl, so just with my hand behind her head. And, I tell this story to my wife, and she goes, well, that's great. So why did you snap at your kids? It's like, why can you do all of that there? I mean, I used to work in an autism clinic nearby. You could do all of that there, but when you came home, we got the worst, they're getting the best. And that
it's a fair question, though, isn't it? I mean, this
is
your wife. This is
Thanks for joining us for tonight's show, Pat. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, I figured that
we'll call you.
Don't be the first time I get kicked off here. All right, fine. So let's do it. Let's
a lot of meditation we've done so far.
All right. So, and the reason we have to talk about this, right, is because you guys, we talk about the problems because we have to start from where we are, right? This is where we are. This is our life. Where do we want to be, right? What is the goal? What is the goal? What am I trying to get you? What level am I trying to get you to, right? I want to get you to the level of, maybe you can on, say Friday night after a shift or Saturday, maybe you can participate in a dinner party. Maybe you can go to that picnic, or maybe you can go to a family function and not just sit in the corner kind of
Remember,
grumpy.
we're in Michigan, so we don't know what those functions are anymore.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Sorry, had to
Just
get
give
you
it
off
some
track.
time, guys. Just give it some time. It'll be all right. So for PTSI, let's try to alleviate the symptoms a little bit, right? I'm not saying it's a cure at all. Let's keep from ending up back there when we have those triggers, right? There's always the back there. I feel like I'm back there, right? I did a little bit of research. We talked about out-of-body experiences at one point, and there's actually out-of-body experiences that are associated with PTSD, where they're called dissociative PTSI or PTSD. Sorry, guys, I don't know which one to say
It's
anymore.
the same thing to us.
Okay, gotcha. Dissociative injury, where the disorder is that they don't snap and get back there. They snap and their world isn't real, and everything just goes into a weird dream, right? So that's another thing that can happen, right? So what mindfulness teaches is trying to be in the moment, and like I said, it feels like a buzzword, and it feels so easy to say but so hard to do, and I understand, and we're going to get there, guys, I promise. So if you're here, right, then how can you be back there? If you're here in the moment, here now, when you're at home or when you're out on a vacation, how could you ever be back there or on shift? If you're off shift, you're here. So you're not there, which at this point, that's what we're looking for. Let's be here. Be here when you're here and not on shift. And I know that's a whole lot of word salad there. I'll try to clear it up a little bit more.
Like 4 words only, but
I get it.
we got you.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to try to shorten that decompression stage. So when I get off shift, it's not hours before I can even look at my family in the face, where it's going to be maybe a few minutes, maybe a half hour. And it's not days before I can enjoy some sort of vacation that I took. It's a couple hours, right? It's an hour or so. You take a shower, you do some mindfulness, you watch some Netflix, and you're good, right? That's what we're gonna try to talk about here. So we're gonna also try to become closer to ourselves and our feelings. Anybody want to chime in on there? You guys and your macho man, anybody?
The therapist in me has a lot to add to that, but the veteran in me saying shut up.
Right.
I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, I've admitted before, but I have a therapist that I see, and she actually watches this, and she's like, I get more out of you during the podcast than it's like, oh great. But
Sure.
no, the therapist side in me, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things you could say about being in there, and I even give tips to clients where if you're having anxiety, if you're having trouble, you do what's 5 things you can see, describe them to yourself. What's 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can taste, 1 thing you can smell, and just go through that, because it's trying to bring them back to that. But when I'm affected, it's gone.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like looking in a mirror, but we painted the mirror black. I can see, I can help those that are my clients. I can help those that are in my caseload. But when it comes to, okay, now you've got to help yourself. And that's the problem with all of us is, we're so used to ourselves that we don't see what everybody else is seeing.
Sure. Yeah. And also you're so used to being of help to other people that you can't be the one who needs help, right? You're the one too. You're doing the helping, right? Okay. So anyway, what I was getting at is like, easy there, guys. It's not as girly, and I'm not talking about, you're going to be using scented oils or anything like that. We're just talking about knowing our thoughts and knowing our triggers and knowing how we're feeling, so we see them before it becomes an issue, right? That's all I'm saying. So it's just mindfulness will be just another tool in that toolbox for self-care, right? It'll help us with better control of ourselves on and off shift, at work and at home. That's the point. That is what I'm trying to get you to, right? That's the path. That's not the path. That's the end result, or at least further down the way, right? So what the hell are we talking about, right? what are we talking about? We're talking about mindful meditation. We've been talking an awful lot about problems, right? And maybe where we want to be, but how do we get there, right? We get there, and this was actually kind of funny, is I've watched after Bill started his show, and I've been watching a lot of I've been trying to kind of keep up with your guys' scene a little bit, with the the first responder stuff. And there's an awful lot of people who want to talk an awful lot about how hard it is, and how you need to check yourself, or you need to admit that there's a problem. Okay, so one of the problems that I had is that there's an awful lot of talk about problems, and there's an awful lot of talk about trying to get somebody to admit that there's a problem. But what about the guy who just said to himself, man, I might have a problem, but I'm not quite there to want to go talk to somebody yet, or I'm not quite, like, I think that something may be off with me, but I'm not sure. Like, I just gotta, I don't want to go see a doctor if I just got a little tickle in my throat, but something may be coming, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I was feeling about it, right? Also, we're talking about a fairly masculine, or, for better or for worse, a fairly masculine sort of like group of people, right? This is a bunch of dudes who, I'm good. Don't worry about me, bro. I'm awesome. Don't worry about me, and so you get that, right? So he may not want to talk to anybody right away. But so maybe he's searching online, or maybe he's doing some stuff. And what you get, the answer is, if you don't want to go talk to somebody, then you need to do something to relieve your stress. Okay, what's that? And then the next step is always like, oh, there's hundreds of ways you can, you can have a hobby, or, or do this or do that or whatever. There's literally hundreds of ways you can relieve your stress. And I have, and while that is true, the problem there is now we have a toothpaste aisle problem, right? So the toothpaste, you guys ever been standing in front of the toothpaste aisle, right? And you're like, God, this is like the most important fucking decision I've ever made in my life. But it's fucking not. It's just toothpaste, right? If you don't like it, throw it the hell away and get a new toothpaste, right? But you're standing there, and because there's all these choices, you could do this, you could do this, you could have fresh mint, minty mint, or wintergreen, or all this other crap. Just to have the little ADA seal on it. Oh my God, your brain will trick you into thinking that is a really, really, really important decision. And when reality is just get the damn toothpaste. We're late already. Get the damn toothpaste. Just pick one. Just pick one. That's all I want. Am I painting a picture here? I've been in Walmart with my wife. She's been doing the same thing. We were late. Just pick a toothpaste. It happens, but it's okay. It's your brain. It's what your brain does.
It's like the more options that you're thrown, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this to help with your stress. The more stressed your brain gets, because it's in that mind, because our brain likes similarities. I've talked about this before, that it likes to see what's similar and put it with something in the past. And it's like, okay, we have a lot of decisions, a lot of hobbies we can do. Okay, now I'm stressed because I don't know which one to pick.
What if I pick the wrong one? What if I waste my time? What if it's too hard? What if I waste my money and my time, right? There's no way that I'll ever know if I'd picked the right choice. Well, that's not the point. The point is to do something, anything. Do something. And I'm asking you to do something by doing nothing, right? Because I'm just asking you to sit in the darkened room.
Now we lost us. So,
you guys are gone? Okay, all right. Oh, guys, that's a joke. Sorry, guys. So mindfulness is the buzzword, isn't it? It's everywhere. It's Hollywood. It's awesome. It's Doctor Strange, the movie. I did see that movie. See, those guys, they say that I don't watch fucking movies, but I do. All right. Right. So it's basically mindfulness says you must be present.
Movie reference, and now he's claiming he's watched movies.
Right. Now
I've seen movies.
I wanted to talk about when he was in Korea and he threw his stuff down. He was like, it reminds me of Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where he goes off on that lady. I just want a fucking car. It's great. It's great. I can actually see him at the counter.
Well, what I did was I meditated for a second, and I was able to. No, I'm both. No, but anyway, so we want you to be present in this moment. Be present. Be here. Meditate for. I've never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's why I'm moving right on. Though that's it. See, yeah, I know.
50% for me.
There's another one.
See, Every
Classic.
damn. I'm just gonna
It's an
go
American
with.
classic.
I don't watch movies. Fuck fucking movies. There you go. I'm just gonna tell people. I just give up now. That's it. Fuck it. I don't watch movies. So
Considering we've done your mission, we've made him admit it.
Right, you've heard it here.
They get me. They get me. They're not even here right now, and they're getting me. They're owning me. So.
Well, Bill's still getting you in the chat. We're watching him.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice when I can't see it. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate that. So. Actually, it's probably best. I probably just need to focus on what I'm doing. So anyway, so we want to meditate for hours, don't we? That's what you got to do. You got to sit there in quiet in the dark, light some incense, do what you got to do, and develop total and complete control of your mind.
I've got 3 kids. That's not going to happen.
Total bullshit. It is. We're all human beings. So you got 5 kids. So
that he knows of.
Children of he did spend time at Curly. Anyway.
I've been meditating this whole time. I don't know where
it feels. Yeah, it sounds like it, man. He's been just sitting there, just in complete Zen mode over there. It's awesome.
We call him our civilian translator. If something comes up that he can't translate, he's like, guys, wait a minute. What does that acronym stand for?
Yeah. My wife, I've actually had to be my own translator and my family's translator because my wife is one of those super duper smart people. She's worked in like medical labs, DNA labs. She's worked on, microbiology underneath a doctor of microbiology. Like she gets to say all.
That's right.
Don't worry, you're in good company. All of us married up.
Yes. Right.
I maintain she married up, but that's cool.
Bye.
That's right.
No, it's all right. So, but so she gets to say all those big words, right? And I'm the one who has to kind of clean up the mess at the end and be like, okay, so here's what she actually does, right? She takes the droppers, they do this, they're trying to genetically engineer freaking the MRSA bacteria so that it doesn't kill you when it's on you. Done. That's it. And they're like, oh, why didn't she say that? She doesn't know how. It's fine. So it's cool. It's all right.
Anybody in the corrections world loves MRSA.
Yeah. Well, no, she worked with the guy who's trying to not eradicate MRSA, but trying to genetically engineer it. Like she's trying to change it so it's either less virulent or less like toxic to you. It sounds like mumbo jumbo, but they were working on it. It sounds like a nightmare is what it sounds like.
You just hurt John's brain.
They did. I mean, just test after test. We're going to try this. We're going to try this.
That's how we got
the guy was cool as hell. That guy was cool as hell, though, man. He was one of the coolest guys I ever met. Like 2 doctorates, and that dude could still sit there and have a beer with you and bullshit and talk, and it was a super cool guy. So that was her boss. So, all right.
I've lost your spot in your outline, by the way.
We're on 4, 5.
That's right.
All right.
Right.
So mindfulness comes from Buddhism. Mindfulness comes from Buddhism. It's actually step 7 of the 8-fold path. And just like us in our Western societies, we kind of like to skip to the end. Let's forget all that other crap about all life being suffering and the only way to end suffering is desire, and desire is caused by this and that, and the only way to end the cessation of suffering is the way to path to nirvana. Nah, screw that. Let's be in the moment. Let's do mindfulness. And that's what our society says to us, right? Well, I got turned on to this stuff. I was stationed in Japan for a couple years, and I met a Buddhist monk in a bar in Japan, and that's not the beginning of a joke.
Was it
I promise.
Outside gate 2?
It was not that kind of guy. It was not that, actually. He was an American, and he was in the Air Force with me. He was a crew chief in the other squadron, which Brad loves to bring up. He's like, how the hell is that guy a Buddhist? And I was like, we'll get there, but you know what I mean? But he said he was a Buddhist monk. I have no reason to doubt him. And then he pulled out his driver's license and showed me the picture of him as a Buddhist monk. And I was like, oh, no shit. You were there, huh? You lived that shit. And he's like, yeah, I did. It was cool.
Nice.
Still had a driver's license, though, huh? Weird.
Right.
So the second guy, and we just had that in a bar over a beer conversation. When somebody tells you they're a Buddhist monk in a bar, you can't help but now this is what we're talking about now. Okay.
Right.
So, so we had that over the bar, over the beer talk. And the problem is that he was just down the hall from me, and I couldn't. I never got back to talking with him. I never got back to him, right? But it stuck in my mind, like, man, that sounds like some cool stuff, right? That sounds like some neat shit. So fast forward, I've gotten out of the military. I've done all my moving around the U.S., and I'm back here in Omaha. And a friend of mine had a group she's with, a mindfulness and meditation group, had a Buddhist teacher come from, it was either Vietnam or Laos. I was not certain, really not certain which one. I knew it at the time, but I can't remember. It's been forever, right? So sorry if that guy's listening. I don't fucking know. But anyway, so this guy, he kind of talked about his story, right? And he was doing a talk in a Catholic church, which was interesting. So, and so he talked about how he was a successful businessman, and he was doing the day-to-day. He was doing the whole money is everything for the dollar or whatever he was at the time, and was earning at the time. And then he came out of it, and he just kind of got to that point where he was just, I'm burnt out. I can't do this anymore. Too much backstabbing, too much crap. I can't keep up. I'm out. And this dude sold everything he had, and he dropped out of life, and he moved his ass to this monastery, where he told us for the first month of the time he was there, he spent learning how to breathe. And this was his whole story. He talked for like an hour and a half, kind of like I'm doing right now. And he's just now at the end got to the secrets of meditation, which is what we were all there for, right? That's what we wanted when we went to go talk to him. That's what all the people who are listening to this podcast want right now. What is the secret to meditation? And the secret is just simply that. It is conscious breathing.
Okay, when you say conscious breathing, let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So the technique is actually, it's pretty simple. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out.
Sound like the ending of a blonde joke.
I'm breathing out. Right? But that's it. So while you're breathing, I'm not even asking you to change your breathing. I'm just asking you to, while you're breathing. So I've been doing a lot of talking on y'all's podcast tonight, which I am incredibly sorry for.
No, we're good.
But
no, we invited you on, so we didn't have to. That's why you're here.
Perfect. That's perfect. So I have been talking with you guys. You guys have been sitting there listening to me ever so intently. Thank you, by the way. I really thought I was going to get roasted more, but you guys are kind of soft. You guys have been taking it easy on me, so I appreciate that. But
we figured you needed a break.
Right.
Now, if we have you on again, get ready.
Get soft. Tomorrow night I'm going to record, and I'm just going to be blindsided. I'm like, what happened to those guys? Those guys from Michigan. Oh my God. So, you're breathing. You're breathing right now. You're listening to me. You've been breathing. Otherwise, you'd be dead. Your body will breathe for you, right? But we want to bring that unconscious thing forward into the conscious. So you can, at any point, I've seen all three of you just did it. You all did like a real like deep breath, like, right? And so when you do that, that is a conscious breath, right? You can take that deep breath. You can, at any point, you can take control of your breathing. But sooner or later, your brain's going to take back over, and it's going to go right back into unconscious world. The trick is, how long can you hold that consciousness? How long can you hold your mind on the act of breathing? And that is the beginning of meditation, right? So the reason you focus on the breathing is to help clear the mind. You start with just a few minutes. And I mean this, guys, seriously. Like, it's literally, you start with 2 minutes. You start with 5 minutes. Okay. And the idea here is that you sit down, maybe you darken the room, maybe you don't. You don't have to. But you take the phone, you put it over there, maybe put it on silent, probably.
You
right?
lock the kids up in another room.
Do it at
Yes.
Maybe they're in bed. You lock the kids up in another room. You're just coming off shift. I don't know if your family has that do not talk to time or whatever when you're coming off shift or whatever. Some
John
people
has
I've
a
talked.
2-year-old. He doesn't get that concept
Right.
yet.
There you go. That's all the reason more why we need to get this thing done quickly, right? Let's get this thing finished. So you get 5 minutes when you're getting home or before you turn on Netflix. Because let's be honest, like half the people listening to this, they're going to go to work, they're going to come home, they're going to turn Netflix on, and they're going to just chill and watch TV for the rest of the day. Like you guys said, not much else going on up there in Michigan, So right now, at least,
Jerrod.
yeah. So, whoa, damn, dude, it's like
he's just happy the bowling alley's open.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Every time
he had to close.
Recording on the weekend, Jerrod's like, "Well, I got nothing," and the one time he had bowling, and then it closed.
Yeah. So it got canceled. Well, it's delayed.
It's kind of like you and hockey, Pat.
Yeah. We had to take a few months off. We've been doing all right with going strong. We've been powering through it. So it's anyway. So, all right. So inevitably, as we sit in our darkened room on our couch before, without our devices and, like I said, with as little interruption as you possibly can get, I know what I'm asking for, guys. I get. You sit there, close your eyes, and you focus on your breathing. I guarantee you probably won't last 30 seconds before a thought will creep into your mind or something.
Tried it. Was 5.
Was it 5 seconds?
Is it
5 seconds. But the point is that you identify that thought. You identify what you want to do with that thought. That's fine. You're for another time, and you send it away. You release it, and you focus back on your breathing, right? We don't get mad at ourselves, all right? Because everybody has the same thing happen. A thought will come into your mind, okay? And I say this because when you start to do this breathing, I say a thought will come into your mind. Like a million thoughts come into your mind. I get that, But when you're focusing on your breathing, your mind sort of does this sort of weird turn, and you feel like you're actually in the room, right? You feel like you're in, for once in your life, you're in the moment, right? You try it tonight or whatever after we're done, but when you focus on that breathing, right, there's just this weird turn of the mind where you're like, I might not be thinking of anything else right now. And then the second you do that, you start thinking about other shit. Honestly, that's how it goes the first few times you try it. That's how it goes. And I'm sure that's why you guys, I wouldn't say the word failed miserably, but you guys have made your thoughts about meditation very, very clear. It didn't work for you, right? It just wasn't for you. I couldn't keep my brain on the situation, and that's okay.
Well, also,
right? But a
lot of things with meditation. Sorry, but a lot of things with meditation, especially from we're in a more conservative area, and a lot of people, when you bring up that, hey, let's do some meditation, they're like, nope, something's bad gonna happen, or that's another religion. And it's trying to distance that from a lot of that mindset, because we don't have access to Buddhist air chiefs around here.
Right.
We don't have
not too many of those guys are farmers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that.
The closest thing we have is probably the Amish Mennonite.
The hours you spend in a forest next to a rifle waiting for a
crossbow
to walk by. Or crossbow. I'm sorry. I apologize. I am unfortunately not a gun guy, but that's fine. The Air Force considered me a marksman, but I'm sure you'll have a chuckle at that one there, Dustin. So it's cool. Really? All right, that's cool.
Because that'll be for the next one.
Yeah, most people don't. So no, prayer is a form of meditation, right?
See, and actually, I was about to bring that up. I actually did have a pastor talk about that at church once. About putting yourself aside and just focusing on a prayer or focusing on a Bible verse that means something for you for the day. Just focusing on that even is a form of meditation and to center yourself.
Sure, but to get to the point of being able to focus on that Bible verse, we have to make sure that we can actually hold something in our mind for longer than 10 seconds, right? And so we call this breath work as that's what it is. It's work. It's really hard to keep going. But the idea is to be okay with ourselves. I'm okay that my brain just can't handle it right now. Bring yourself back to your breathing, and see how long you can last the next time. Maybe it's not 5 seconds, maybe it's 10 seconds, maybe it's 15 seconds. And then you go down that rabbit hole again and you're chasing Alice into Wonderland, right? Fine. Oh, you get to a point, I'm having a thought, aren't I? Okay, that needs to go back to my breathing. And we do this succession of failures and restarts, right? And you do that 10 or 15 times in a row, you've just meditated for 5 minutes. I'm not asking you to clear your mind for 5 minutes flat, like all gone. Like shut it off, clear your mind, think of nothing right now. That is impossible. But if I give you the stepping stones to get there, it's not the act of doing it, it's the trying, it's the working towards it, right? So if you can last 2 minutes sitting in one spot, right? That's today. Tomorrow, that 2 minutes goes by faster, and now it's 5 minutes. And then the following day, it's maybe say 5 minutes again, right? We're working towards it. Then you're kind of starting to notice that things are calmer around you when you get up and you bring yourself back to sort of where you're awake and everything. And I say awake, but you get up and you go on for the rest of your evening or day. Then you kind of feel better about yourself and you're like, well, I could do that again. So then you've given me another day, right? We'll give it another try, right? Well, then you lasted 10 minutes this time. And that 10 minutes didn't seem like that long. All right, well, maybe we'll go 12. Okay, well, we'll just keep going. Well, I'm getting better at this. I'm starting to like be able to go for several minutes at a time between my weird thoughts that always invade, or what am I going to do, or what has to be done, or the honey-do list, and or everything, all that stuff. But if you can get that 5 to 10 minutes without any of that, or at least with the attempt of getting to yourself, then that is what we're looking for. And that is the key to meditation. It's not the buzzwords. It's not the power of the mind. It's just the trying, okay? Try to clear your mind for a little while. Because damn it, when else are you going to try? What else are you going to do?
Yeah, it's just like our training, first responders training, you didn't get it correct the first time. I mean, you didn't do it 100% perfect the first time. And as you get used to it, I know there's times, John, I've talked about some of his calls that he was on, and he says, I just responded and my training kicked in. And so I kind of see where you're going with it, to work yourself up to that, just like you would train yourself to protect yourself on the job, now training yourself to protect your family and yourself at home.
Sure. Yeah. And we're not doing, I mean, yes, it is for your family. But first and foremost, it's for you, man. It's for you, ladies. It's for you, gentlemen. It's for anybody who's listening to this who feels like they don't get that 2 to 5 minutes just to themselves. I can't get a breath in. I can't get anything. Well, try, because all I'm asking for is 2 minutes. Right, Bill? Sorry, he had us rolling on when I tried to talk about meditation on our show. I highly recommend that episode. It was bad.
Well, I'm glad we were able to be nice and let you go.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Right, yeah, sure. But think about it, guys, right? So if you've given yourself a week, right, and you've worked yourself up past 5 minutes, I'm not asking to get you farther than that, really. I honestly, 5 minutes, that's awesome if you can do it, right? 5 minutes. And you've done it for a week. So now you're a person who meditates for 5 minutes a day. You just are. Right? Why not keep trying, right? Then you get up to 10, get up to 20. 20 minutes is what the most, like the people that like meditate all the time, like that are like pushing it or whatever, 20 minutes is it for them. They do. I meditate for 20 minutes a day. That's 20 minutes of my day that I give to myself. I know he's not exactly the best example, but there was this an episode or this special on Netflix about mindfulness and meditation, and Russell Simmons said the words, I'm a CEO of 4 different companies, multi-million-dollar companies, and I can find 20 minutes a day to meditate. You can't find 20 minutes. You can't find 5. It's so once again, just try, right? And I'll say it again. You were just going to watch Netflix anyway. So before you turn the TV on, just like, are the kids to bed? Great. This is your time. Great. Take that time. Give yourself that 2 to 5 minutes.
And it's also some of the stuff that I've gone through for training and whatnot for mental health, the mental health field. A lot of it, especially those that have trouble falling asleep or they wake up a lot, they say something similar to this is just lay there and work, just listen to yourself breathe. So it's I'm hearing a lot of similarities between what you're saying for the mindfulness meditation to what, medical professions and mental health professions have been saying for decades about people with sleeping issues.
And you work towards, and if you find that the breathing is working for you and you've been spending your time doing that, I'm talking about the baby steps here, guys. I'm talking about, this is just the beginning. This is getting you to the point where you don't say, I can't meditate anymore. There are, like you said, there are Bible verses you can meditate on. There's a lot of times people will look at a candle or try to meditate on, an object, a specific, object from nature or something that they do as well. You can also, and I talked about this in our Buddhist episode, you can meditate on a concept as well, such as like love, or even if you're ready for it, if you're kind of higher than like anger, you can even go towards the negative if you want to sort of like, but please don't go straight to the negative. I know first responders, you guys got a lot of negative up there. And if it does pop up, that's okay, because I know that when you've held a severed head in your hand, you've got some baggage. But if that guy comes up, recognize what it is. It's just a thought. And so this will give us practice, right? To recognize our thoughts. We don't now we don't speak hastily. We don't just pop, we don't just clap back, we don't just hit back at somebody who nails us, right? We've already been looking at our thoughts. We've been looking at them objectively, because that's what we're trying to do. It's a thought. Get it out of the way. We don't get immersed in it. We don't get stuck in the heat of the moment. And so, like I said, that's what I got for you guys. If there's more questions, believe me, I'm sure there are. But if there's something you guys think I could answer tonight, by all means jump in. But like I said, just breathing in and breathing out consciously on purpose. That is the name of the game. That's the secret. That's the part that nobody freaking says it when you look online or you do anything like that, or you read all the stuff about meditation. They don't ever talk about that kind of that starting point, and this is the starting point. I know.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you and maybe they want to ask you questions about it directly, so that's listening, they didn't get to be here on the live part, how can they get a hold of you?
You can email me at my podcast Gmail account. That would be 3guysaroundafirepit@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook, our page. We're usually pretty good about responding to messages sent to us through the Facebook page. I'm on Twitter at FirepitMystic. You can DM me, or if you want it to be private or whatever. I'm also a collector of dreams, and I like to interpret those as well. There's a reason that that the handle is FirepitMystic. I kind of love all things weird and paranormal and things like that. So, since we've started our podcast, I'm pretty certain that people are, everybody's got a little weird, because of the conversation that I've had. Somebody's listened to our podcast and they want to come up to me, which that I don't know if that's been the scariest thing for me, is that people from my work have been like, "Hey man, I listen to your podcast," and I'm like, "Oh boy, okay, wait, where's this one going? I know what my kid's about, So like, so it's usually people come to me to kind of interpret dreams, and whatever your thoughts on that are fine, whatever. It's all good. But if you want to talk about meditation, if you want to talk about any kind of coolness or any kind of religious stuff or anything that you want to, I will definitely get back with you, and we can, if you have any questions about this stuff, I'll talk with anybody, man.
John, Jerrod?
No,
I'm good.
You guys gotta try it. You really do. Like I'm not gonna let you guys go without saying that you'll at least give it the old college try.
I will give it.
Just one more for me, guys. One more.
You don't
for
want my college try because my college try. Yeah, I just got done. So college, what's that? I'm done.
Mine,
right.
community college of the Air Force. We'll see.
But no, after hearing this and hearing what you're saying, it is something that I would, I've always been interested in,
Mhm.
and it is definitely something that I will look into for my own personal mental health, and I see where it's something, it could be a good tool because I do a lot of stuff with courts as well, and it sounds like a good tool just to kind of reset yourself, focus yourself on where you need to go, and even if you can do it for 2 minutes a day, that's almost 15 minutes a week. I mean, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
So
man.
we do appreciate you coming on, Pat.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Three
very much.
Guys Around a Fire Pit podcast. See, that's all you got to say tomorrow.
Jesus. Yeah, it's like you listen to my show once or twice, man. I don't know. It's all good. It's all
But
cool.
no, we appreciate you coming on. Three Guys Around a Fire Pit podcast. It's a good show. They talk about a lot of things and absolutely nothing all at once. And I know it's been one of my favorite ones that I've listened to for the last few weeks. And I appreciate, definitely appreciate you coming on.
You guys,
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
my
Pleasure.
newest subscription to
Hell yeah.
on Apple.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, get in there. We start with
So-
dreams. So
Yeah.
Yep. So there you
Well,
go.
So now you've doubled your members. So all the ones that Bill and them
That's
have,
right.
have upset and
The other
left.
three, mom, dad, and one of my sisters. So I guess that's cool. So
right.
hey guys, cool. You're my biggest fan club. We're great. So, I definitely appreciate the opportunity, guys. I will. I have said this to a few people. It is one of my goals to drag the law enforcement and first responders kicking and screaming into the mindfulness fold here. So
It's something new.
I will
So
continue.
you'll have to.
I will continue to pound the drum.
Well-
It's so easy to start. It's so easy to try. Just try it.
It,
And even if it doesn't work for you, guess what? You tried something, right? You tried it. It's so,
right. And it's something they always try and hit on when we go to trainings and whatnot. And it seems like the big thing that they're pushing right now is yoga, right?
Oh,
Why? I don't know.
An awful lot of.
Yeah,
that would
well,
be a
there's,
yoga
there's
class.
there's no type A people
Right.
that's going to sit down and do yoga, right?
Sure.
But yeah, it's they do train you to try and kind of do something similar to this, but a lot of it does have that kind of
Sure.
overtone
But
to
here's
it.
the thing:
and,
like a type
wait,
A.
if they would
This
just
is
take a step
Down one more
approach
time.
like you have, but if you
but like a
just
type
kinda-
A. This is something that a type A can do for himself, right? Just
Right.
sit
right,
down,
exactly.
handle it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
want- you want to handle it yourself? Fine. Here's a
Exactly.
tool. Great.
and sometimes you just got to dumb it down.
Yeah. If you get
gotta,
too weird and incense and granola about the whole situation, then then you're turning so many people off. And I just feel like it's like, dude, it's just breathing, man. It's just breathing and thinking. That's all it is.
Right.
That's all I want you to do.
Well, you've got
it-
one person interested there, Pat. We've got somebody that commented that they want to know if there's one in their area, so we're going to try to help them find one.
Yep.
I mean, we'll find it for you. You let us know how it is, and we'll take your word for it. But no, I mean,
I use
could
this
be
stuff
a whole
in theater.
episode.
I'll go try it.
Guys,
I'll go try it for us. I'll find one around here.
you guys should go do a yoga class and then do an episode on it, and I will.
only
oh
if I can wear my yoga
If-
pants.
Oh, it's yoga class, right? I mean, come on. So
Right, you're supposed
Well, I
to.
see the big trend now is those yoga pants with the little design on them. They tush your.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. yeah. We're
I
trying to
appreciate it.
get people to listen to us, not scare them away.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
we
if
could
you
have shared
can get
a photo
Bill-
of you before the show.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. If you could get Bill and Brent there, that Brad on, and you could do them doing a yoga, then we'll think about doing an SDC
Honestly,
yoga.
I
We'll
think
let Jerrod
they're
set up a Google meeting.
trying to finagle me. I think we're gonna do a live. I'm gonna get some acupuncture done.
Nice.
and they're gonna do like live like host it or something like that, so like they can hear every last cringe that I have and like and
Nice.
everything. So that's something that we've been talking about.
I'm trying to think on Disgruntled Vets. Isn't it Chappie that gets the waxing done on his mustache every year for charity? He'll have a full on big old bushy mustache. And I think it's Chappie, and they wax it and rip it off. Oh God,
He doesn't watch movies or TV.
Well, it's on
Remember that, John.
Facebook. It's a page. It's not.
Oh, okay.
I mean, my man Pat's a disgruntled vet. Okay, he could easily claim into this page. I'll even sponsor him. Okay.
There you go. Bill claims he's doing yoga now. Unless there's photos, there's no
Right.
evidence.
I want photos right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Hey.
all right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight.
All right.
Thank you guys
Thanks
for
again,
being
Pat,
here.
from Omaha.
Thank you again, Pat.
Yes. Thank
Can
you.
you get all those
Appreciate
steak
it, guys. Thanks.
trucks out of our area? all the
I'll
Omaha steaks.
Call for you. I don't know, man.
Have your people get a hold of our people.
I'll let you know.
Thanks, man. Tell you what,
I
you
guess
have a good night. Appreciate it. And tonight I am taking over the producer's chair since.
Yeah, you've got to end it, not me. I'm starting to go to my keyboard. No,
yeah.
not today.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. I guess I got to give that puzzled look like Jerrod does at the end. Like, is this done?
I go, why isn't it?
Is this what?
I hit end. It's not.
Well,
ended.
now we know that he could do mindfulness meditation before he goes and tries to end the podcast.
All right, guys, we'll try this. All right, Jerrod, here we go. Just for you. Have a good night. There you go. We're ending,
Nope.
boys.
Nope.
Well, it's
Still live.
Still says live on my
saying
screen.
that,
See,
we'll see.
there should be another button. You've got to click like 2 or 3 buttons.
What's funny is my video
What?
is right. Exactly. My video is blocking